Hey guys, welcome to Bipolar Boxing. Saturday during the day we got Filip Hrgovic versus Joyce. This fight's in the UK, so it'll be an early start time here in the United States. I believe the card starts around like 12 or 1 o'clock. Main event will probably be right around like anywhere from 5 to 6 Eastern time, which would be great because the Torres card starts right after it pretty much. I think the early prelims for that start around like 5 o'clock or so. So I'm way more excited for this fight than Joyce versus Dillian White. That would have been a much better, easier fight for Joyce. Joyce was about a 3.5 to 1 favorite in that fight. Now he's a 3.5 to 1 underdog against Hrgovic. And both these guys really need this win. They really do, especially Joyce, just because he's 39 years old. Hrgovic, everyone says like, man, this is make or break for him. It's really not. I mean, he's only 31 years old. These heavyweights at the top are going to start aging themselves out. And even if Hrgovic loses here, he's still going to get a guy in the top 20 in his next fight, win a couple of those, and you're right back in the picture. Joyce can't afford to do that. If he loses here, everyone's going to be, saying, Joyce, man, you need to retire. You've taken a lot of punishment because if he loses here, he's going to take a lot of punishment. He just does in all of his fights. And you're 39 years old. Like you don't got a shot at anywhere near the top, so just retire if you lose. Um, so I just think Joyce is giving it one more crack at the to stay at somewhat near the top. If he wins this fight, he'll probably get a big fight after this. I could see, but yeah, I just never saw in Joyce what everybody else saw in him. I'm talking about like the analysts on ESPN that were saying he was the third ranked heavyweight, a couple of years ago, literally like 2 years ago before the Jang fight, they were saying that he was the best outside of, they were saying Fury and Wilder were the two best, and Joyce was three, and then Joshua, and maybe if they had Usyk. I just never saw that in Joyce. I think he's too blocky. He's a big guy. He's very powerful. He's got a chin on him, but that chin is starting to get cracked, and he's just starting to get older. And he usually has a great gas tank, but man, that I think it was Cash Ali or whatever the hell that guy's name is. Like that was not a good fight. And Joyce was supposed to run through that guy. I think I had Joyce at probably like a 20 to 1 favorite. And that fight just when I saw that fight, I was like, Joyce is done. He's done. And I don't see him getting. He's not getting younger. He's 39 years old. If he wins this fight, it's going to be more what we don't know about Hrgovic. And with Hrgovic, I worry about his gas tank. Kind of both these guys, I worry about. I mean, Joyce definitely has um, the better stamina on this fight. Even though he's 39 years old, he probably weighs more than Hrgovic. They're both like 6'6", so they're both big guys. The one thing I would worry about is Joyce just literally coming forward the whole fight, eating punches for the first 6 rounds, but then Hrgovic gassing himself, and Joyce ended up getting a standing TKO because Hrgovic can't move out of the way, and Joyce will just keep coming. But my instinct just says that Hrgovic is the better boxer, so he can win on points. He should be able to bank rounds early against Joyce when he's got the stamina for the first few rounds, and to just stay away from the dude and just win a points decision. I see Hrgovic. The paths to victory for Hrgovic are just like there's a lot more of them than Joyce, in my opinion. And I like I said, I just don't like Joyce. I just think he's too slow. He leaves his head there. He has no head movement whatsoever in his fights, and he will be getting hit with right hands all night. And I don't know that his chin can hold up. So I see this fight either being uh, a TKO around like round 7 or whatever, or just an easy kind of like a I think it's a 10 round fight. So maybe like a 7-3 win for Hrgovic. That's the way I see this fight playing out. Joyce has got some good wins on his career, but Daniel Dubois not in his prime. He was only 22 years old when they fought, and he was a young 22. Joyce was a young like probably 35 years old or something like that when they fought. And I think he just got Dubois at the right time. He got him early. Now that win looks good, but like that win doesn't fool me. Daniel Dubois was only 22 years old in that fight. He had the win against Parker. Man, I had him in that fight. Like the one time that I, bet heavy on Joe Joyce was he was a 6-1 favorite against Joseph Parker, and he knocked him out. He was up on the scorecards and for the first 11 rounds, and he knocked him out in the 11th round. Looked good back then, but that was before he started getting cracked. Because I think his very next fight was Zhele Zhang, and then after that it was Zhang again, and Jojo, and then you lose to Derek Chisora. Like it's not even the Zhang fights that scare me. It's the I think that guy's name was like Cash Ali or something like that. Like Cash Ali, he did not look good in that fight, and like you should run over a guy like that. And the Derek Chisora fight, although Derek Chisora can probably take more punch. It's sad to say because the guy's like 42 years old. He's probably got a better chin and way more stamina than Hrgovic. But Derek Chisora beat him there. I had Joe Joyce in that fight, and he let me down. So he just hasn't looked good in his last two fights, and now it's way different styles because Chisora will come forward a lot, and Joyce came forward, and it was just Chisora beating him to the punch. But Hrgovic is a little smarter of a boxer than Derek Chisora. I think Hrgovic, he has to preserve his gas tank in this fight. That's the main thing for Hrgovic because he did not look good against Danny Dubois, although Danny Dubois has looked like a killer lately. So, yeah, he looked bad against Dubois, but, Dubois is also a different style than Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is so slow. And Hrgovic did land a lot of punches against Dubois. So I have to imagine, I mean, Hrgovic might land at like a 60% rate in this fight. He's going to be hitting Joyce with every single punch. And he's just going to build up an early lead in my eyes. And I think he does enough to survive in the later rounds. This thing could get really ugly in later rounds, a lot of hugging, a lot of holding. And I hope that's what Hrgovic does because I'm planning on him banking a lead. And then either get the late stoppage, like keep going. If your gas tank is there, if Hrgovic has got a good gas tank for this fight, which it is a short notice fight, so it's questionable. But if he's got the gas tank, he should be able to knock Joe Joyce out with very little problem, I think, just because the guy's so easy to get hit. He's 39 years old, and his chin's been cracked by Zhang and Chisora. So just think the safer bet is Hrgovic in this fight. But it's a must, guys. So they are going to give it their all, but just give me Hrgovic in this one. I'm not trying to overthink this, and I'm not banking on the worries that I have with Hrgovic. I think he can come through. I think he learned a lot in that Dubois fight. This is a tough test to, when you're coming off your first loss of your career, to fight a guy like Joe Joyce. It's a tough thing to do, but I think Hrgovic can do it. He trains with Abel Sanchez and they'll have a game plan ready, and maybe some of that game plan will just be to not wear him out. But I'm gonna go Hrgovic here. I'm gonna late TKO or pretty easy pretty easy decision victory is 7-3 or something like that. Gun to my head, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a unanimous decision for Hrgovic. Like I said, 7-3 or something like that. The undercard on this is a little underwhelming, but you do got David Adelaide. I like David Adelaide in that fight, but I don't even know his opponent. I literally never even watched film on him. But Adelaide looked so good in his last fight. He did not look good against Fabio Wardley, but he looked good enough in his last fight. I think he's going to beat this other guys from the UK as well. Like, if this guy was any good, I would know who the hell he is because I watch every single one of those UK cards on Saturdays, because it's on early the day. Then you usually get a US card, on Saturday night. So I would know who this guy is, and I don't, and I'm not even going to look up information on him. I'm just going to go with Adelaide. So and it's a good parlay to have. Have Hrgovic, Adelaide. They're both like 3.5 to 1. At least I got them both at 3.5 to 1. Adelaide's ballooned up to like -600 now. That's another tip for anybody that bets. When you're betting favorites like I do, I just tend to bet favorites, but I bet who I think's going to win the fight. But get your picks in early because these odds balloon up. and they know these odds makers know that the public, who usually doesn't bet until the last second, they hop on favorites a lot because they're going to watch the fight. Oh, I got to have something to bet on, and they're going to bet the favorites. So at the last second, if you try to wait to the last second with favorites, like it doesn't work out in your favor. This week, like Janabek, I got him at uh 4 or 5.5 to 1. Now he's up to like minus 900. Richard Torres minus 170. I got him at, and he's up to like minus 270 or something like that. Like bet these favorites early, and just take Adelaide, Hrgovic, and just bet all the heavy favorites like Royston Barney Smith and that Burchell guy who's fighting on the undercard. Yugi Fury's fighting on Friday. You could toss him in there at 50 to 1. Just bet those guys. Like they always win on early Saturdays. The prelim cards. They're not throwing them in there with anybody. They're just throwing them in there with guys who can kind of give them tough fights, but those guys don't lose fights. Those early prelim guys, they do not lose very often. So just put a bunch of them on there. Bring your odds down. If you bet every favorite on this Joe Joyce card, you can probably get, I'd imagine, around to pick them. You're gonna have to win all like 8 fights or whatever. But I mean, like I said, those early guys aren't losing. You really only got to win one fight, and that's Hrgovic. And I feel pretty confident that Hrgovic beats Joyce. Not confident on how it happens. I don't ever bet the ways to win a fight. The last time I did that, I think, was Floyd Mayweather by knockout against Conor McGregor. But yeah, that's my take on this. Let me know who you guys think's gonna win, and let me know who you guys think the winner of this fight should fight next. Have a good night.